Hello everyone, this is K-Pizza back with a new PML tutorial, and today we're going to take a look at my new track called Pronto. You can find this project file in the description, and here I'll play you some fragments of the track. So let's give it a quick listen first. Alright, so now I'll skip to the second drop quickly. Alright, that will be it for the track. Yeah, we'll go through all of the elements. The project file you can find in the description. And let's start covering all the elements. So I've got two sidechain tracks here. These are just kicks. And second track as well. And what I use them for is that I'm sidechaining a couple other elements to these sidechain tracks. They are a little different. Some elements are taken out from here. But yeah, these two tracks are muted, they are not playing, so let's leave them alone for now. I've got a kick. It's a pretty standard kick with some saturation, you know, to give it more punch. And some EQ to roll out the high end. I've got an 808 sound here, just some bass, just a standard, pretty distorted 808 sample, and I've got an overdrive and it's sidechained to the kick. It's quieter at first and then it goes louder. Yeah, that will be it. And I've got another duplicated 808 track here, which is essentially the same sample, exactly the same settings, but it's gliding. It's got its glide turned on to 2.37 seconds, and it's gliding from G3 to F sharp 2. That would be it, and it basically makes up this combination. Alright, so I've got a snare, very important element, so this is a layered snare, consists of two samples. This is a regular snare and this is more kind of a high-pitched sort of snare, and they are both layered. I just threw a sample here and click Command G to group it and threw another sample here to group them, adjusted the volumes, and I've got a high-pass filter on it to take out some of the low end. Here you've got the drums. Alright, so now let's look at the claps. So I've got a build-up here from claps. So it consists from a rim shot, actually, and clap as well. So these two sounds are layered and they are creating this kind of build-up effect. and it's got some overdrive, and the utility is automating the volume. Alright, So I've got some toms here as well. These are just some acoustic toms, pitched down, each one semitone down, I think. The drums in the second drop look exactly the same. Yeah, I've got also some hats here, and they are coming in the second part of the drop. Let me play you the second part. Alright, so these hi-hats have an arpeggiator. This hi-hat sample has an arpeggiator MIDI effect before the simpler device, and its rate is automated. So I've got 112 here, and 116, 132, and here 112. And I've got a high pass filter, of course, to take out the muddy low end. What I'm doing here with the panorama, this is a very cool effect. So I'm automating the left and right channels volumes so that it goes from left channel to right channel. If you're on headphones, then you'll hear it going from left to right. Okay, so that'll be all for the drums. Just basic trap drums, I think. And we've got some interesting textures here. So I've got some spray that I sampled. It sounds like this. I sampled pronto spray, that's what I called it. So when you click Option Command F, you see this fades view. And I automated the fades like this. So at first it was like this, but I wanted it to sound consistent, so I automated the fades. Yeah, and it sounds consistent. And the same thing is here at the first drop, but the volume is different, so I quickly created another track. Alright, I've got a texture here, which looks like this. Some really crazy sounds here, so I'll explain everything. I've got an EQ on this texture, which is basically the same thing looped around. This is the same thing all over again, and the EQ has a low pass filter and high pass filter. And the frequencies are automated, and also the Q on the high pass filter is automated. So we are going up in the frequencies here. The Q is going up on the high pass filter, and we've got this cool pitch down effect, I guess. I don't know what to call it. Okay, that'll be all. And then, oh, yeah, I've got an overdrive reverb, of course. Some compression and sidechaining to the kick, but that's nothing crazy. I've got just sidechaining to the kick. So when the kick hits, the texture goes quieter. Alright, so let's focus on the second texture now. It's more or less the same thing, but the EQ is more simple. Nothing is automated. And we're just automating the gain, and then I'm sidechaining to the kick. Yeah. And these two textures make up kind of a cool sound. Some ambient stuff here. Right, I've got a phone sample as well. A walkie-talkie trill. So what I did is, this sound sounded like this at first. Yeah, like a walkie-talkie, and then I transposed it, selected clip, transposition modulation, and then I am pitching it down gradually. Okay, that'll be all. And it repeats a couple of times. And I've got some really crazy Foley samples here. These billet samples go along with claps. So every second clap there's a billiard sample. I got some really crazy sounds here. Also some billiard samples, some glass shattering sounds. Really crazy sounds. And what I'm doing here is I'm sending all the signal to the A reverb track, which has a reverb effect on it, and it dry wet all the way up. So I'm automating the level here on this channel, so that before every 808 hit, I'll just play it to you. I've got a automated reverb return track. So it creates more movement in the track, and what I did to create this smooth transition was I held Alt key to adjust it like this. I got some paper samples here. These are some just samples that I wanted to have on separate tracks, just with some reverb, and then I've got another paper sample. Okay, that'll be all for the textures and drums. Let's now focus on the instruments. So I've got the lead sound, the main element of the track, and it's basically this sound, which is just a one-shot sample, high-pass EQ, utility with automating the panorama, just as with the hi-hats mentioned before. So it goes from left to right and to right. And then I've got some compression limiter to kind of also limiting is can be used as distortion, but it's mostly just brings up the signal. And I've got some redux. This is a very cool effect. So without it, it sounds like this, and with it, so it adds some kind of bit reduction to the sound and makes it sound cooler. So I'm also automating the on-off switch here, and I've got some overdrive to add some grittiness. Here I've got a filter delay. Essentially what I'm doing here, I've got left and right channels, and I've got it set to time without any filtering, and the time difference is 8.8 milliseconds. So the sound on the right channel is delayed by 8 seconds, and it makes up for a wider sound, essentially. So I've got also a reverb and ping-pong delay, nothing crazy here. And I grouped all of this together. What I did is I created another instrument rack track. And I've got the same thing, but the reverb is all the way up, and I'm automating the volumes just like with the return track. Yes, so it always hits before the 808, if you notice in the track. Alright, so I've got another track here. The only difference is that it's quieter and the redux is turned on always. It's not even automated, the on-off switch. Okay. Next thing, I've got a just lead intro. This is without redux and just basic sounds before the second drop. And I've got an ARP lead. This is the same sound, but without all the effects, and I'm automating the panorama, notice. And the cool thing I'm doing here is I've got an arpeggiator, and this clip is playing chords. It just plays single notes instead of a chord, and I set it the style to down, so it goes down every 1/24 of a bar. And yeah, 3 steps minus 12 distance, so an octave down. And in this section it plays different notes to go along with the track. It's just a different chord. And yeah, it repeats and it's layered with this cool sample called phone, and makes up kind of a cool sound, I think. I've got another Serum. I've got a Serum track here, which is essentially 2 oscillators, a sine wave and additional fourths, I think, and they are not detuned or anything, they are just layered. And yeah, I'm automating the volumes here with the first envelope, and I've got a low pass filter. Here I've got a high pass filter. I've just got a louder reverb here to make this kind of fade out sound. Let's get some decay time. The driver of this all the way up, so the sound comes in gradually. Next thing I've got is another synth here. This is more or less the same thing. It's louder, and I've got some really cool bass. Which is just a basic saw wave, and it's got 5 voices. It's slightly detuned. And what I've got is I've got a low pass filter and another low pass filter here. I've got an overdrive, which adds some more harmonics to the sound. Yeah, that'll be all for the bass. I've got, of course, a sidechain to the kick, and I've got another sound here, another bass track, which is more detuned because it's for the intro, and it's got another oscillator put 1 octave up. It's much wider. And also got overdrive, low pass filtering, just some limiting to make sure it doesn't go over minus 18 decibels. I didn't want many loudness differences here, so I threw a limiter there. And I've got a sidechain compressor and just automating the gain here. And also automating, of course, the low pass filter frequency here. So it adds some movement to the sound. It's not always the same. These are all the instruments. If you want to look at them in depth, just download the project file. And then I've got some vocals here, which is just a talking sample. And I've got a high pass filter here, which is going down. Just nothing crazy. I've got some compression to glue the sound together. And here it goes down. It's nothing crazy. And here I've got the same thing, but it's distorted and a sidechain to the kick. It just fits the second drop better, I think. Alright, I've got some cool vocals. Just a basic vocal sample, but the start and length is adjusted like this, and I've got fades turned on to 100%, so the sound is smoother. Yeah, and I've got some reverb and filtering on it. And I've got another vocal sample, which is the same thing, but the EQ is automated. Okay, and I've got another vocals group here, which is a very, very crazy group. Okay, so how I did it? So I took this sample, kind of tweaked it, resampled it onto another track, just recorded it. What I did is I copied it a couple of times and I pitched it down gradually with this transposition modulation. And some elements I took onto another track and pitched up 1 octave, 12 semitones up. And yeah, I did the same thing every bar. and it makes kind of a cool sound. Let's play the second drop. That would be all the elements. Remember, if you want to look at all the elements in depth, or maybe make your own track out of my track, make sure to check out the link in the description. And that would be all. To Escape Pizza, bringing you a tutorial on my new track called Pronto. Thank you very much for watching this tutorial. See you in the next videos.